Proverbs 23. When you sit down to dine with a ruler, know well what lies before you, and put a knife to your throat if you are a master of your soul. Do not lust for his delicacies, for it is deceitful bread. Do not weary yourself to become rich. Forbear from your own understanding. You cast your eyes upon wealth, and it is gone, for it makes wings for itself, like an eagle that flies toward heaven. Do not eat the bread of the miserly, and do not lust for his delicacies. For as one who fantasizes in his soul, so is he. Eat and drink, he will tell you, but his heart will not be with you. The loaf you have eaten you will regurgitate, and you will have wasted your pleasant words. Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will scorn the intelligence of your words. Do not move back the long-standing boundary marker, and do not enter into orphans' fields. For their Redeemer is strong, and he will take up their grievance against you. Bring your heart to discipline and your ears to words of knowledge. Do not withhold discipline from the youth. If you strike him with the rod, he will not die. You should strike him with the rod, and you will rescue his soul from the grave. My child, when your heart becomes wise, then my heart too will rejoice. And my yearnings will exult when your lips speak righteous words. Let your heart not envy sinners, rather those who revere Hashem all the day. For it shall endure, and your hope will not be cut off. Hear, you, my child, and grow wise, and guide your heart upon the way. Do not be among the guzzlers of wine, among the gorgers of meat for themselves. For the guzzler and the gorger will be poor, and slumber will clothe you in tatters. Give ear to your father, who begot you, and though your mother may be old, do not scorn her. Purchase truth, do not sell it. Wisdom, discipline, and understanding. The father of a righteous person will be mirthful, and one who begets a wise child will rejoice in him. Your father and mother will rejoice, and the one who bore you will be mirthful. My child, give your heart to me, and your eyes will desire my ways. For the harlot is a deep pit, and the strange woman is a narrow well. She too lurks to snatch, and multiplies the faithless among men. Who cries, alas? Who cries, woe? Who is contentious? Who prattles? Who is wounded for naught? Whose eyes are red? Those who linger over wine, those who come to inquire over mixed drinks. Do not look at wine becoming red. For to one who fixes his eyes on the goblet, all paths are upright. His end is like that of one bitten by a snake, like one stung by a serpent. Your eyes will see strange things, and your heart will express turbulence. And you will be like one who lies in the heart of the sea, like one who lies on top of a mast. In your drunkenness you will say, they struck me, but I did not become ill. They beat me, but I was unaware. When will I awaken? I will continue asking for more wine. Proverbs 24. Do not envy men of evil, and do not desire to be with them, for their hearts contemplate spoils, and their lips speak mischief. Through wisdom a house is built, and it is established through understanding. And through knowledge its chambers become filled with all dear and pleasant treasures. The wise man remains steadfast, and the man of knowledge grows ever stronger. For through wise strategies you can wage war for your benefit, and salvation lies in abundant counsel. But to a foolish one, wisdom is an unattainable gem. He will not open his mouth at the gate. One who devises evil on his own behalf will be called a master of wicked designs. A foolish design is a sin, and scoffing makes a man abominable. If you were weak in another's day of affliction, your strength will become limited. If you desist from rescuing those being put to death and those on the way to being murdered, if you will say, surely we did not know this, but the one who resides in hearts, he understands, and the protector of your soul, he knows, and he recompenses a man according to his deeds. Eat honey, my child, for it is good, and drippings of the honeycomb are sweet on your palate. So is knowledge of wisdom to your soul, if you have found it. for it has a lasting outcome, and your hope will not be cut off. Do not lurk, O wicked one, near the habitation of the righteous one. Do not plunder his residence. For though the righteous one may fall 7 times, he will arise, but the wicked ones will stumble into misfortune. When your foe falls, do not be glad, and when he stumbles, let your heart not rejoice, lest Hashem see, and it be displeasing in his eyes, and he turn his anger from him to you. Do not associate with evildoers. Do not envy the wicked, for there will be no lasting outcome to evil. The lamp of the wicked will be extinguished. Fear Hashem, my child, and the king. Do not mix with dissenters, for their disaster will arise suddenly. And who knows the punishment of both? These things, too, are for the wise to consider. Showing favoritism in judgment is not good. One who tells a wicked person, "You are righteous," the peoples will curse him, the nations will condemn him. But for the reprovers it will be pleasant, and a good blessing will come upon them. The lips of one who responds with proper words should be kissed. Prepare your work outside, and provide for yourself in the field. Then build your house. Do not offer vain testimony against your fellow, to endear yourself with your lips. Do not say, "As he has done for me, so will I do for him. I will recompense the man according to his acts." I passed by the field of a lazy man, and by the vineyard of a man lacking an understanding heart. And behold, it was all overgrown with thorns. Nettles had covered its surface, and its stone wall was broken down. When I saw this, I set my heart to understanding. I saw and accepted discipline, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little fondling of the hands to recline. Then your poverty will come like a traveler, and your lacking like an armed man. Proverbs 25. These two are the Proverbs of King Solomon, which were copied by the men of Hezekiah, king of Judah. It is the honor of God to conceal a matter, but it is the honor of kings to search out a matter. The heavens for height, the earth for depth, and the heart of kings cannot be fathomed. When dross is removed from silver, a vessel can emerge for the refiner. When an evildoer is removed from the king, his throne is established in righteousness. Do not glorify yourself in the presence of the king, and do not stand in the place of the great. For it is better that it should be said to you, "Come up here," than that you be demoted before the prince, as your eyes have seen happen to others. Do not be quick to enter into strife, unless you know what you will do in the end, when your friend humiliates you. Pursue your quarrel with your friend, but do not reveal another's confidence, lest a listener disgrace you, and you be unable to retract your slander. Like golden apples carved on silver plates, so is a word spoken in its proper place. Like a golden ring and an ornament of fine gold, so is the reproof of the wise upon a heedful ear. Like a cooling snow on a harvest day, so is a faithful emissary to the one who sends him. He refreshes his master's soul. Like clouds and wind without rain, so is one who lauds himself for a false gift. By forbearance a ruler is mollified, and a soft tongue breaks strong anger. When you find honey, eat what is sufficient for you, lest you be satiated and vomited up. Let your feet be scarce in your fellow's house, lest he be satiated with you and come to hate you. A maul, a sword, and a sharp arrow, so is someone who bears false witness against his fellow. Like a broken tooth and a slipping foot, so is a trust betrayed in a day of distress. Like an ornamental garment on a cold day, like vinegar upon natron, so is one who sings songs upon a sorrowful heart. If your foe is hungry, feed him bread, and if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For you will be scooping coals to heap on his head, and Hashem will reward you. As the north wind brings forth rain, so does stealthy slander brings forth an angry face. Better is dwelling on a corner of a roof than dwelling with a contentious wife, even in a house of friends. Like cold water on a weary soul, so is good news from a distant land. Like a muddied spring and a ruined fountain, so is a righteous person who bows before the evildoer. Eating too much honey is not good, but searching out the honor of the righteous is honorable. Like a breached city without a wall, so is a man with no constraint to his spirit. Proverbs 26. Like snow in the summer and rain at the harvest, so does honor not befit a fool. Like a bird that wanders off, like a swallow that flies off, so an unwarranted curse comes back to him who utters it. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the back of fools. Do not answer a fool according to his foolishness, lest you also be considered like him. Answer a fool according to his foolishness, lest he be wise in his own eyes. One will cut off his own feet and drink rancor if he sends messages with a fool. Like the limp hanging thighs of the cripple, so is a parable in the mouth of fools. Like one who loads a stone into a sling, so is one who gives honor to a fool. Like a thorn in the hand of a drunkard, so is a parable in the mouth of fools. The Great One created everything, and he hires the fool and he hires passerby. Like a dog that returns to its vomit, so is a fool who repeats his foolishness. Have you seen a man who is wise in his own eyes? There is more hope for a fool than for him. A lazy person says, "There is a young lion on the path, a lion between the streets." The door turns on its hinges, and a lazy person on his bed. The lazy one buries his hand in the dish. He is too wary to return it to his mouth. The lazy one is wiser in his own eyes than 7 who answer sensibly. Like one who seizes a dog's ears, so is one who grows wrathful over a dispute that is not his. Like someone who wears himself out throwing firebrands, arrows, and lethal objects, so is a man who deceives his fellows and says, "Surely I was joking." Just as when there is no wood, the fire goes out, so when there is no complainer, strife is silenced. Like kindling to coals and twigs to a fire, so is the contentious man to kindling strife. The words of the complainer are like blows, and they descend to the chambers of the stomach. Like silver dross coating earthenware, so are lips pursuing friendship accompanied by an evil heart. With his lips the foe acts as though estranged from hatred, but he embeds deceit within himself. Though his voice is ingratiating, do not trust him, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred is covered by darkness, his evil will be revealed in public. He who digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone will have it turned back upon him. A lying tongue hates those it oppresses, but a smooth mouth will turn the hatred back. Proverbs 27. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you know not what a day may bring. Let another praise you, not your own mouth, a stranger, not your own lips. A stone has weight and sand has mass, but the anger of a fool is heavier than both. Wrath is cruelty, and anger is torrential. But who can withstand envy? Open rebuke is good if it stems from hidden love. Faithful are the wounds inflicted by a lover, but superfluous are the kisses of a foe. A sated soul will trample a honeycomb, but to a hungry soul all bitter is sweet. Like a bird wandering from its nest, so is a man who wanders from his place. Oil and incense gladden the heart, so does the sweetness of one's friend from his sincere counsel. Do not forsake your friend and your father's friend. Do not come to your brother's house on the day of your misfortune. A close neighbor is better than a distant brother. Grow wise, my child, and gladden my heart. Then I shall have an answer for those who humiliate me. A shrewd person recognizes evil and hides, but simpletons go on and are punished. Take the garment of one who cosigns for a stranger or offers collateral for an alien woman. If one blesses his friend loudly from early in the morning, it will be considered a curse to him. An irksome dripping on a day of rainy confinement and a contentious wife are alike. He who would hide her would hide the wind, as one's right hand proclaims the oil with which it was anointed. As iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens his fellow. The protector of a fig tree will eat its fruit, and the guardian of his master will be honored. As water reflects a face back to a face, so one's heart is reflected back to him by another. As the grave and Gehinnom are not sated, so the eyes of man are not sated. A refining pot is for silver, and a crucible is for gold, and a man according to his praise. If you will crush a foolish person in a mortar among the softened grain, and pound him with a pestle, you will not remove his foolishness from him. Know well the faces of your sheep. Set your heart to the flocks, for strength endures not forever. Does the crown of wealth last from generation to generation? Sometimes grass sprouts and vegetation is seen, but sometimes the herbage of mountains is depleted. Let the lambs be your clothing, and let he-goats be as valuable as a field to you. And the milk of the goats will suffice for your food and the food of your household, and will give life to your maidens.